Now, this is from the September Ebony magazine in 1953. I think the date is September the 10th. Now, on the cover is Savannah Churchill. The topic is not about her, but this is just a side note from the main topic of sin, sex, and race. This is a side note. Savannah Churchill, she was born to Creole persons in Louisiana. The family came to Brooklyn when she was about 3 years old. Family came to Brooklyn, and she never denied that she was African American. She never denied that, even though she was Creole. There's no denying it anyway, but it's hard to deny it. Now she started off singing risque songs. The songs at that time was very risque, even more so than what they have now with Meg Thee Stallion and what's called Carly B and Nicki Minaj, Lil Kim. It was just as risque at that time. Savannah Churchill first recording was a song called Fat Meat is Good Meat. That was Savannah Churchill first recorded. She was born in 1920. She died 1974 in Brooklyn at the age of 58. Then there was another song by Lil Johnson, a woman called Lil Johnson. Her reggae song was Let's Get Drunk and Truck. Now everybody had their imagination. This was around between 1920 and 1935. Then there was the song, there were many of them singing those risque songs, like same as today, Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim and Meg Thee Stallion and what do you call it, B. They sung those songs then in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Then another person by the name of Memphis Minnie sung the song, I'm selling my pork chop, but I'm giving my gravy away. All of those people can use their imagination and know what they really mean. I'm selling my pork chop, but I'm giving my gravy away. That was by Memphis Minnie. And Let's Get Drunk and Truck by Lil Johnson. And Savannah Churchill sung other songs that wasn't so risque. And the song in 1948 called I Want to Be Loved, but by Only You, which I believe was the best. So that was just an away thing, a side note, not the main subject. And this also is not the main subject about the Elks, 30,000 Elks on a, okay, 30,000 Dr. Bethune-Cookman, 30,000 Elks. That was the grand supreme, grand exalted ruler. So everybody talked about the Masonic, but there was the Elks too. And he looked kind of mixed also. He looked kind of mixed, like he may be Creole also. He was the grand exalted ruler of the Elks for black people. And now he had a program, and the number 3 point that he was making, he was establishing a program to take care of brown babies in Germany. Because the servicemen after the Second World War impregnated a lot of German women, a number of German women, and left brown babies over there. And it's amazing that they took off that as their cause. And he looked like kind of mixed. And that was like another side note, except that it's a connection to what I'm speaking of, really. Now, just another side note about Tubman from Liberia. And this is from 1953, a magazine, a Negro History Bulletin, 1953. And he's with Nkrumah. That's a side note. And you see that he seemed to have Masonic regalia around his neck. That's a side note also. And you put those two things together, the Alps and the Masonic, and you know the network of who was ruling at that time. Now, but this getting more to the point, what I was really talking about is this Englishman who married an advisor in India. Now, she, the black woman with the white man, she was working with Planned Parenthood in India, even at that time. This is from 1953. And she had short hair, kind of mannish looking. Mannish looking woman that at first glance you would say, well, is that a woman or a man? But she was working with Planned Parenthood. They used her, the black woman, even at that time, 1953. And so she with this funny looking Englishman in India. And now another story about Billy Daniels. Well, you know, during the 40s and 50s, Billy Daniels was a big star. A big star, Billy Daniels. And he had a white wife. He was almost white himself, but he identified as black, as a Negro at that time. And a lot of black women was, I guess they was angry then that he married a white woman. But he said that marriage is over. Billy Daniels. So this was going on in the 50s, and the main subject at that time. And this is another side note about Father Divine, a story about Father. I don't have his picture here, this book, but Father Divine, and it looked like almost a concept between Father Divine and Daddy Grace. He dedicated a 32-room mansion, which I believe is still there near Philadelphia. This was in 1952, 1953, and Father Divine. And he was in contemporary with Elijah Muhammad and you know the rest of those people. Elijah Muhammad, Father Divine, Daddy Grace, all was kind of a contemporary. So that's basically get to the main topic here. Is that as miscegenation. And this I'm continuing with Lerone Bennett, which was one of the greatest historians of our time, Lerone Bennett, and his story of miscegenation in America from Ebony magazine. He's showing you these pictures, Ebony magazine of 1962. Okay, now I'm going to the short paragraph. He said, in and around Jamestown and the Massachusetts of cotton and mather, there was an extensive trade in jeans. I mean, there's a lot of mixing in jeans, extensive trade in jeans. Socioeconomic conditions in the early colonies encouraged racial mingling, White men and women from England, Ireland, and Scotland was bought and sold in the same market with Negroes and bequeathed in the same wills as indentured servants bound out for 5 or 7 years. These whites worked in the field with Negro servants and lived in the same rude tendon huts. So they don't talk too much about that. The whites were sold as indentured servants. Actually, so, and it was in their will, just like the slave was in the will, bequeathing them to the next of kin. Whites suffer the same consequences. But you don't talk about that, and there's not too much movies about it, if there's any. The economic condition in the early colonies encouraged racial mixing, and they lived in the same bad condition, the same huts. So white people want to talk about the positive thing. They don't tell you the truth. That's why I have evidence, because I don't lie. I refuse to, I will not lie. That's what I say is backed up by facts. Whites was living in the same condition, many of them, as the black slave, enslaved, I should say, were. And there was a lot of intermingling of genes during that time.